Here's the latest installment in the Channeling Project, Part 6. Some of the topics explored in this conversation: starseeds, our toxic planet, sensitivity in the neurodivergent brain, autism and vaccines, holistic versus Western medicine, energy healing, is it the healthcare of the future? If you find value in this content, please comment below and leave your questions of general interest to all. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any new posts of channeled content. And now, the Channeling Project. We are ready. You may begin.
Thank you for being here today. Can you talk a bit about the starseeds or star children that have come to Earth in waves, such as the Indigo, Crystal, and Rainbow children?
In order to facilitate the stabilization of the planet's vibration as she moves through her expansion process, it provides an opportunity for souls that come from more refined dimensions to be able to have the opportunity to experience true density here in this classroom, this place of growth. And so as the planet has increased her vibration, and that vibration is then stabilized by each incoming wave, the opportunity is then presented for the next level of light being to attempt to incarnate and ground their frequency through a physical vessel, thus supporting the planet as she moves forward along her path. The challenge for all of these beings is a bit of a conflict between their more refined vibrations and the, we shall say, toxic, increasingly toxic environment into which they are incarnating. The toxicity is not a result of any planetary change. It has to do with choices humanity as a collective are making that are destroying the very habitat that was created for you to explore and learn within. There is no animal species that will dirty its nest and then live within that filth. However, humans seem to have embraced the illusion that you can pollute your environment and there will be no harm. So what is happening is in many ways tragic, because the planet's vibration is rising. Humanity is, as a collective, not as individuals, but as a collective, there are choices being made that are detrimental to what you call the ascension process. And these choices are directly contradictive of the goal of the higher frequency beings that are now able to incarnate upon the planet in an effort to assist in the ascension process. And so it is a dilemma, a dichotomy. We can tell from observing that it is not likely that there will be any immediate shift in how you as a species will continue to live on the surface of the planet. It is an issue that will need to resolve itself one way or the other. It has not yet been determined whether decisive action will be taken or not. We are continuing to watch and observe. However, because these beings, generation by generation, have increasing sensitivities to the very toxins that are causing an increase in a lot of the diseases you as humans are beginning to exhibit, it becomes increasingly challenging for them as beings to live and move within the environment they have been placed in. The best way to address the issue from an individual perspective would be, if one is of childbearing age, would be to take the time and make the effort to create as clean an environment as you can, although virtually these days that is almost an impossibility for you, for the poison is systemic and cannot be separated out from the rest of the planetary organism. It is as if the planet herself has what you might call a cancer, and that is spreading. And there are remedies for the disease, as we stated earlier. But those decisions have not yet been made. These beautiful souls come into this world because they trust that they will be supported in their efforts to assist. Many of them are born to conscious parents. By the same token, many are not. And yet even the parents with consciousness do not necessarily recognize the precious gift of the higher vibrational beings that have chosen to become a part of their family unit. It is incumbent upon each of you, especially if you are a parent or prospective parent, to do the best you can to minimize the ingestion of toxins into the physical bodies, because that does impact how the soul is anchored to the physical vehicle. And often there are problems that arise as a result of the environment that lead to challenges for the individual soul as it ages, as it grows into adulthood. And so we would say there is a dichotomy here between the goals of these higher frequency souls that wish to participate here and the goals of those whose primary motivation is profit, for lack of a better way to describe the problem. It does boil down to profit. Each of you can do more with less. And we will not explore giving you specific suggestions at this time, for you already know what you can do in your own world to make a difference. Whether that will be enough in the end remains to be seen. Just know that they will continue to incarnate because that is part of the divine design, part of the plan. And no one knows what the final outcome will be, not at this point. The next years ahead will determine the outcome, whether this planet returns to its state of paradise or not. So we do not know if that answers your question, but that is what we have to say.
Thank you. So would you say that starseeds or the higher frequency beings or souls shed light on our identities and our purposes and the reason that we're here on this earthly journey? And by doing this, does this help raise the vibration of others on the planet?
The primary reason for these higher vibrational beings to incarnate on the planet is to raise up and to help stabilize the vibration of the planet herself. So they come to assist the planet more so than directly assist humanity. But humanity could benefit from this process if it were willing to be a cooperative co-creator in the process. And so that is the challenge. Again, there is a dichotomy. There is a diversion between the two intentions that are prominent on the planet at this time. And this will eventually lead to some sort of choice, whether freely taken or imposed. Either way, a choice will be made. And then the planet will move forward from there, and the beings that are incarnating to be of assistance will also find their path, be it to remain or to leave. They are here to assist through their vibration. And yet, if their vibration is not supported within the physical vehicle that they inhabit, that makes their jobs more challenging. So it is incumbent upon each of you to find your way to clean up your corner of the world, so to speak. Every decision does matter. And that is what we would say to you.
Thank you. Would you say that many of those diagnosed as having learning disabilities, ADD, or those on the autism spectrum are operating as or holding the frequency of a star seed, that higher frequency being?
First, we would clarify that most of you would be considered star seeds. Your origins are not necessarily from this planet. And by the same token, we would say that not every individual in the categories you listed is starseed. But for the most part, when the soul is of a higher vibration and it is brought into this framework, depending upon the genetic makeup of the physical body that it then inhabits, that has a lot to do with the ability of the soul to withstand the onslaught of the toxins. Does this make sense to you? So it is more about the genetic lineage, the strength of the genetic lineage of the parental lines that would dictate the success or failure of the organism to be able to withstand the toxic environment. But yes, their frequencies are here to help uplift not only those in the immediate environment, but those in society at large. They are also here, many of them, to teach compassion and empathy. Again, higher vibrational states of consciousness that humanity has forgotten or lost along the way. You indeed are your brother's keeper. And having that understanding can change how you move in the world. We give respect to and honor the willingness of these beings to continue to try and move the needle in the proper direction. and we hope for their success.
Thank you. How does sensitivity impact the neurodivergent mind? And can you explain the concept of a sensitivity spectrum?
Based upon the circuitry, the hardwired circuitry of the brain itself, that has a lot to do with the perceived sensitivity of the individual. And for those that have a more tenuous grip on their physical vehicle, those sensitivities can be magnified because their vibration, the soul vibration, is refined. If they are at the outer limits of their vibrational compatibility with their vehicle, then the sensitivities are often increased. And this can lead to greater challenges. Keeping in mind that these individuals are your collective transitional generations. In other words, they are not the final product or outcome either. They are steps along the way based on current planetary conditions that will hopefully lead to your new iteration down the road, where you are one step closer to actually physically experiencing that which you speak of so often, and that is that feeling of oneness. And yet, for most of you, it is still a theoretical concept and not something that you understand at a physical felt level. The sensitivity to the environment also indicates a sensitivity to the unseen world. And often, much of what, as you say, the neurodivergent soul is experiencing is an awareness, a greater or heightened awareness of the unseen than your ordinary consciousness is capable of processing. Again, this would be due to the wiring of the physical brain itself. When combined with the connection or interface of the soul's makeup.
Thank you. Albert Einstein, who is said to have had dyslexia and ADD, is quoted as saying, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." Can you please share your thoughts on this quote?
It is often a matter of perspective and perception that dictates such a situation. And so within the parameters of what it is we're discussing here today, those who would say the fish must climb a tree would be your normal functioning people as they look at fish who are perfectly satisfied with swimming in the water, recognizing the water they are swimming in, with no desire to climb a tree. And yet, external parameters are being set upon these beings that are, for the most part, more advanced in their functioning as far as their brain than your normal humans. And yet, because there is no understanding of how they operate, per se, there is a lack of an ability to support them. And so while they are comfortable swimming in the water, you would have them climb the tree, which for them is an impossibility. So allow the fish to swim. And instead of judging them for their perceived deficiencies, perhaps learn to look to them as teachers, as way showers. For indeed, for the most part, they are, in the words of Einstein, they are genius. It's simply not recognized as such. We would also postulate for you that perhaps the manifestation of these, as you say, neurodivergent characteristics is, for the soul, for the individual soul, a coping mechanism that was created in order to deal with the environment within which they find themselves, where they do not have a clear understanding of the conditions here until they are incarnated. It is only a sense of what it must be like until they actually enter into this dimension. Then it truly is something that must be adapted to and adjusted for. And many times that will manifest in these, as you say, neurodivergent characteristics as a way to cope with the environment they find themselves in. So we hope this is helpful.
Yes, thank you. With the global increase in autism, it is speculated, but not scientifically evidenced, that the increase in autism may be linked with childhood vaccinations. Is this true, or should this increase be attributed to factors like improved awareness, better diagnostic criteria, and increased access to screening services, rather than a biological increase in autism cases? Or is it a bit of both?
As these higher vibrational beings come into incarnation on this planet, they are vibrating at a much higher frequency. They now have access to physical vehicles that have the potential to vibrate at a higher frequency based on genetic matches that occur over time with the differing members of each of the waves we spoke about earlier. And to that end, they are also, as we said to you before, incarnating into an increasingly toxic environment. And so it is a combination, we would say, of the higher vibrational potential of the soul itself, the physical vibration capacity of the vehicle they are incarnated into, and then the increasing toxicities to which they are exposed. Yes, all of those factors that you named could be contributing to this manifestation. But from our perspective, it is more of a coping mechanism than anything else. And that increased need to cope in such a way has to do with the widening gap, vibrationally speaking, between the energy of the soul itself and the environment within which it is now expected to exist and to somehow sustain itself. Awareness would play a slight role in this increased awareness. However, we would say the increase itself has more to do with the numbers of higher vibrational souls that are attempting to inhabit physical bodies on the planet, and the disparity between the physical body and the vibration of the soul and the environment within which it finds itself. There has to be a way to compensate for this. In the 80s, these beings were not able to fully ground themselves. The solution to that problem is now what you are calling the manifestation of beings that are literally in this world, yet not capable of being fully a part of it in many ways. They are insulated from it, and that does impact their surroundings and the people that are connected to them. But it is one of the few ways that they have found to be able to cope with the situation. In order, how can I be here and contribute my vibration to the planet when faced with such a choice? The toxins to which they are exposed, it's not only vaccines, it's the world at large is poisoned. And to bring increasingly high vibrational beings into this toxic environment, it's creating problems that these souls are seeking a way to be able to manage the situation in order to be present here and avoid needing to leave the planet prematurely. So, is it one specific thing? We would say, no, it is not a singular causative factor. There are many things that contribute to this situation. The severity of affliction, or many of you see this as a detriment, we do not. The severity of the affliction itself as it manifests can often be mitigated or minimized based upon how many of these other factors one is able to control.
Thank you. Aside from vaccinations, you touched on this in your answer before, but are there environmental factors such as harmful chemicals and pesticides found in foods that we should be aware of consuming due to adverse effects on our physical and energy bodies?
Yes, this would hold true for all of you. Your safest bet would be to hide yourselves away in some small, lovely area with nature around you and grow your own food, be your own source of energy, and avoid as much as possible, again, the toxins that are everywhere in your environment at this time. Humanity has managed to turn this planet into an unfriendly environment. And so there will be a need to deal with the after effects of these choices. Although we would say they aren't necessarily collectively made, they do impact the collective. And it is the collective that will be tasked with cleaning up the mess in the end. For a mess it is indeed. It is practically at this point unavoidable for each of you to clear your environment to the point that it is minimally healthy for you as an organism to sustain yourself. But we would not discourage you from doing whatever you can, taking whatever actions you can to exist as freely as you can. Again, it is a matter of choice, and that power is exclusively yours. What will you accept? What do you reject? Every small decision does make a difference. And your maintenance of your physical body is your responsibility. And ensuring the health and well-being of those that are in the generations that come after you is also part of your responsibility. So what you do each day does matter.
So, are there specific ways that we can clear toxins and pollutants from our bodies? Not just the physical, but the mental, emotional, spiritual, and the energetic. And what roles do herbs, teas, and food play in the energetic cleansing of the body and soul?
There are many energy medicine modalities out there that will help you clear the non-physical toxins out of your body. You can work with your mind and your spirit to clear those things. And there are certainly methods and traditions that you can employ to assist your physical body in clearing of toxins from the body. It's virtually impossible for you to cleanse everything, especially some of the more longer lived toxins from your physical. However, you can support the liver with herbs that will help it do its job better. And you can do the same for your other organs of elimination that will support a cleaner environment to some degree. All of this will help stave off the likelihood that you will endure an illness that is not naturally occurring, such as cancer. And so you can, by the judicious use of cleansing herbs and teas, or dedicated cycles where you focus on one organ to assist it in functioning more efficiently, you can help your own physical body using these natural methods, and that is what we would advise. A more awareness placed on what it is you consume and how you treat your body in general. So yes, we would encourage the use of these methods. It is almost, we would not generally use the word mandatory, but it is almost at a point where you cannot avoid providing your body with some assistance because it is so overloaded with toxins that it is getting to the point where it can't eliminate everything on its own, cannot process the poisons on its own. And so supporting your body in whatever way that you can does contribute to the overall support of the planetary body. Because if you are more clear, then that lends a cleaner frequency vibration being broadcast via your instrument out into the world. And that helps. That helps the overall progress of the planet herself. It doesn't address the issue that we spoke of earlier with the increasing amount of toxins being produced and released into the environment, but it would assist with you, each of you individually. So we would recommend research in some of these cleansing herbs and teas and the proper use of them, or many of them do have seasons of efficacy where they are stronger or more effective than at other times. And we would caution you not to overload your system by detoxifying with great intensity. For most of you these days, it is recommended that you take a gentle path to clear yourself and allow the body to do what it can according to its own capabilities and its own pace.
That was great. Thank you. As we evolve, do you feel vaccinations or mandated vaccinations will be a part of the future of humanity?
You were created with an incredible capacity to heal yourself. Your body is a miracle, and as such, it is technically not necessary to provide what you are calling vaccinations to stimulate your immune system. Much of what happens that weakens the immune system comes back around to some of the factors we have been speaking about earlier, and that is the increased amount of toxins in your environment, as well as the stress. If your body is functioning at its optimum level, this mechanism you call vaccines, which has changed and transmuted so much over the years that it is, for the most part, not necessarily supportive of the natural way in which the human body is created to function, and therefore does not always accomplish the intended result. You are better off finding alternative ways using the plant medicines that have been placed upon this earth to assist you to help your immune system strengthen itself. So the short answer to the question would be that as you evolve, you will have more awareness about how your body functions, and you will see that the need for this process of seemingly supporting your immune system is not necessarily beneficial to your body's functioning. There is a likely timeline where humanity will return to the sacredness of the plant medicines to support the body's immune system and its other functions. You are designed in a specific way, and many of your great books speak to how everything that you need was also provided for you here in this realm. That too was part of the original design, that you would be able to live in harmony with nature, with the land, with all of creation, and that you would have everything you needed for your health and your well-being. Humanity has forgotten this, and that is what has led to the creation of things that are not supportive of your growth and development. So we will repeat ourselves and say that the day will come when you will realize that there is more benefit in supporting your physical body, your immune system, with what is termed natural means, as opposed to creating an artificial condition in the body, forcing it in many ways to function in a way that it wasn't designed to through the administration of what you are calling vaccines.
Yes, so what do you say healthcare, Western medicine in particular, will look like in the future then? Will people shift to a more holistic and energetic approach to healing? And how may this shift impact the energy of the planet and its inhabitants?
We would say that the system you are calling health care is, again, using vaccines as an example, it is an artificially created mechanism, and we would say that we're not sure its primary motivation is necessarily to benefit the beings that it serves. And so we will say that as humanity as a collective grows in its awareness, you will find yourself returning to the ways of the past that are, for the most part these days, personified in the presence of what you would call shamans and healers, people that work with the actual energetic structures of the human energy field, or the biosphere, the planetary energy field. They're people that are gifted with being able to utilize the energy, pure frequency, to adjust the status of the body. We are not condemning the aspect of healthcare that speaks to when there is serious emergency, something needs to be done immediately. That is when your current healthcare system is of most use. However, when it comes to an evolution of a disease process, sometimes mental disorders, spiritual disconnections, these are things that are better served using what you would call your alternative modalities, primarily pure energy, in whatever form the practitioner chooses to use. That is a vital component to survival moving forward. So having an understanding of how to deliver beneficial energy to another person is a skill that we would encourage all of you to explore in your own way, and to know that the time is coming where a growing number of you will actively choose that path as a way to maintain your health and well-being, as opposed to the current model that includes what you are calling healthcare system. It is indeed a system, but it is difficult to articulate what the primary purpose of that system is. Each of you are sovereign beings, and you have dominion over your vehicle, and yet you have lost the vision for yourselves in many ways. We are not preaching here. We are simply pointing out that in your earlier incarnations as a collective, or indeed many of you do reincarnate as part of this collective soul called humanity. In many of your earlier incarnations as a collective, you turned to that which you found in the natural world around you, and to the beings that understood how to work with and manipulate energy, pure energy. Fundamentally, it is all frequency and vibration, including the vaccines that are created, that are put into your body. That's a vibration. Now, whether that vibration is beneficial or harmful is another matter, but it is indeed a vibration. In the same way that an herb or a plant or an energy practitioner is able to deliver frequency and vibration to the body, it is more likely than not that that will be helpful to rather than harmful for the physical vehicle. We see a time, and the transition is already happening. We can see it building momentum here in the collective itself, where there is a return to a more natural, earth-based way of approaching many of the diseases and disorders of the physical body. Not to take away from those who are able to set a broken bone or stitch up a gaping wound. Those skills, too, are valuable in the maintenance of the health of the physical body. So we would say the time is approaching. It may take another generation or two for you to be able to fully see the outcome of this change or this transition. But more of you are individually recognizing something is broken with this system that was designed to help you care for your health individually. And you must always remain cognizant of the fact that you hold the power to choose for yourself what you feel is best for your individual situation.
Yes, thank you so much. We agree that the soul always knows what to do to heal itself. But can you explain what role sensitivity plays in this process?
We are understanding you to say that when you use the word sensitivity, that is the individual's capacity to be able to discern things for itself. If that is correct, then we would say that increased sensitivity allows for the soul to have more input when it comes to what is appropriate for the physical body at any given moment. For indeed, the soul has a vested interest in maintaining the health of the vehicle for reasons we have stated in the past. And so the more one is able to develop a sensitivity to balance or imbalance within the physical body, that allows for greater cooperative efforts between the physical aspect and the soul itself in order to bring forth healing or transformation in the physical body. So we would say that it does play a role, because the more sensitive you are, the more aware you are of what is happening at any given moment in time.
Great. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here today. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
We will note that humanity is standing at the threshold of what we would call a great transition. It is also a time of choosing for all of you. This next generation or so will eventually tell the tale of where your planet will go and how it will get there. And all of you are along for the ride. And so we would simply offer you these words of encouragement. Stand fast with what you know to be true to the best of your understanding. Give no quarter unless you are forced to when it comes to living according to your internal understanding of what is true and correct for you. Do what you can every day in whatever way that is to ensure that the choices you make are conscious ones, knowing that every single decision you make does have an impact on the outcome. We are here to support, and we are looking forward to progress and to hopefully the realization of what this planet is intended to be, and that is a place of education, growth, and learning for each and every soul that incarnates here. Whichever way the path unfolds, there is certain to be learning, growth, and education. And for that, every soul living here on this planet can be grateful for that opportunity. Trust yourselves. Trust your guidance. Work on strengthening your connection to your own higher wisdom. And allow no man to tell you otherwise, for that is your greatest weapon in the coming days. It won't be a gun or a sword. It will be your ability to move in accordance with the flow of inspiration that comes to you each and every day from your soul, from your higher wisdom, nudging you in the direction that is for your highest and greatest good. And so we say to you, rise up and be joyful. Allow your hearts to be filled with gratitude at the opportunity, at the rare opportunity of inhabiting a physical body at this pivotal time in your planet's transition. We are grateful once more for having the opportunity to communicate with you in this way, and we look forward to our next conversation. So be at peace.
Thank you.
Thank you for your continued support of the Channeling Project. If you found value in this episode, please share it with 2 other people so that together we can bring more light to this world.